I wonder whether you would just like to give us a really potted history of how many members are there here actually of the Women's Equality Party? Okay, how many aren't? Oh. Okay, half and half. Okay, so some of you will have to bear with this because you already know. But how did it begin and where are we up to?
Well,
I say we, obviously this has nothing to do with the Southbank Centre.
We actually should have a picture. This was here in the Queen Elizabeth Hall. It was a year ago, and as you can see, I was in the audience, and I was listening to debate about women in politics, and I was getting depressed because all of the women on stage were great. They included Jude, by the way, who was moderating it. But the audience was full of women who, one by one, said that they were so disengaged with politics that they may not bother to vote at all. And so, as you can see, I grabbed a passing microphone and said, maybe what we need is a women's equality party. And then I added, if anyone wants to discuss it, I'll be in the bar. And people followed me to the bar, and social media picked up on it and sort of said, not that I was saying maybe we need one, but that I was going to start one. And then I went home and I Facebooked about it. Like a true feminist, I brought my husband, who's going to play later, but he's a musician. He'd gone on tour, and I wrote, he's gone on tour, and all I've had is a sandwich for dinner. Oh, and by the way, I started a women's equality party. And immediately all these women started saying, I'm in, me too. This grew so fast, instantly. But obviously one of the reasons it grew was because we had just tapped into something that was already there. And the best example of that is that I rang Sandi Toksvig the next morning to tell her what had happened. And she said, oh, well, that's exactly what I was going to do at the WOW Festival as part of Mirth Control. I'm showcasing what a female party could look like. And by the way, will you be my foreign secretary? So she and I immediately had the same idea for this party, that it should be a non-partisan political party in order to draw together the absolutely widest coalition possible. And we have these 6 core objectives, which this clicker's a bit slow. There we go. So very straightforward, 6 objectives. All of the main parties already, in theory, signed up to them. But as we know, the problem with politics is that it pays lip service to these things.
I remember at the very beginning that one of the things that happened was crowdsourcing ideas for what the party should stand for. And the kind of commitment that to get to a new political space, we had to get away from the idea of being either left or right or somewhere, but actually had to kind of say, in total, this is about women and women's priorities for a gender equal world, which of course,
yes,
you know, includes support from, because men have joined this party, hooray. How democratic did it come, you know, in terms of getting people to involve themselves with the policy?
Yes. One of the interesting things for us, we've grown so fast that people don't always understand what that means. One of the clear things it means is we had to create the structures as we grew. So we literally started in a meeting room here, where 250 people turned up just to discuss the idea of a party, then around my kitchen table, and what we had to do was find ways of involving people and evolving a democracy. We will go to a system where we have a full party conference later this year, but we crowdsourced our first policy document, which came out in October. And we did that by involving the branches, but also involving people who were already working on those areas, because one of the really big things is not to reinvent the wheel, but to harness what's out there, the diversity. This is about diversity, about the diversity of women and of people and of the problems and the issues and the ideas, and trying to harness all of that and that energy.
Okay, so in 12 months, how many branches have been set up?
72. I think quite a few of them are here. And we have 45,000 members and supporters, and I hope by the end of today we'll have 45,000 and quite a few more.
And I mean, obviously, it's completely changed yours and Sandi's life, you know, because
I think messed up is the word you're looking for.
Well, you can't make a commitment like that without it, you know, being a quantum leap in terms of everything else that you've got to fit in and do. But you also appointed a leader who's going to talk at the end, Sophie. And not only has she been appointed a leader, but she's also now standing for mayor.
Exactly.
Of London.
I can't believe how far we've come in a year, but I was actually pretty much tearful yesterday watching the mayoral hustings here, because Sophie was so brilliant. She wiped the floor with everyone else. And we also have this amazing slate of candidates for the Assembly election who are also here. So I'm so excited about that. But the political system is stacked against women and stacked against outsiders and stacked against diversity. So part of why we're doing what we're doing, but part of why it's so tough, is that, as Sandi and I have been discovering, there are any number of obstacles that we have to overcome, from money just to the amount of time that it takes. And that's, of course, a discouragement to many women who are involved in juggling a million things.
Time poor, yeah. So we've invited, at this point, different guests to come and give a birthday gift to the Women's Equality Party.
Well, and to women to talk more generally. The gifts, I think, are for gender equality in general.
So they're universal gender equality gifts. And our very first gift is Nimco Ali, who's coming on.
My gift is a vagina lollipop, and I was going to say some really amazing lines, but Bridget's already said them all about the fact that we should start finding about more. But ultimately, I think I came here 5 years ago to talk about FGM, which was something that was kind of shrouded in mystery and shrouded in this kind of cultural narratives and so on. But growing up between two different cultures, what I've learned is the fact that the vagina is something that is so less talked about and educated, and I really want to give women the power to not be ashamed about talking about the vagina, and young people the education that they need in order to understand it.
So your next guest with the next gift is Honor Barber, co-founder of the Hampstead and Kilburn branch and the party's youth ambassador. And what have you brought for us today, Honor?
I have brought you a doner kebab. So,
okay.
Should we get it out?
We'll get out this doner kebab.
Yeah, sorry.
Why?
Why?
Bridget said, why?
Because I feel like this kebab, I want to show you it, because it, here we go. Thank you. Because I feel like this kebab is representative of politics for women in this country today. So, it looks quite nice, I think, when you see the twirling fat stick in a doner kebab shop. I think you think it looks quite good. And I was really disturbed the other day because I read that in one particular shop, the core of the doner kebab, so the actual meat attached to the stick, was 4 years old. So on the outside it looks good, but on the inside there's a risk of violent food poisoning. And then I was like, that's exactly like politics for women, because from the outside it looks great, and we've got more female MPs than ever, and they're doing amazing things in Parliament, like Sarah Champion's private member's bill about child protection, Dawn Butler standing up against racism and sexism in Parliament, Jess Phillips and the domestic violence victims in Parliament as well. And this all looks really good, and we should be hopeful about women in politics. But then, just like a kebab, the problem is at the core, where, like kebab meat, the men are old, disgusting, and really hard to get rid of. And that...
Okay, thank you, Honor. So, I don't know whether we're going to have a sort of ceremonial feasting of this doner kebab as a sort of ritual way of examining and getting rid of it, but maybe not just at this point in time. Do you think?
Well, another thing, if we get in the kebab and make the core nice, then energy for activism. It's all the major food groups in a roll. What could be better?
Okay, vegans, look away.
Sorry.
Thank you, Honor. Okay, next we welcome up Max Hardy with his gift. Here he comes. And what have you got for us, Max?
Well, I thought that the gift that the Women's Equality Party could really, really do with is male privilege. The problem is, male privilege is so vast that even this enormous room could not accommodate male privilege. So I thought, what is the most male and privileged thing I know? And I've got it here in my pocket. This, ladies, I was going to say ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure there are some gentlemen here. It's the first time in my life I've been in a minority. An old Eternian tie.
It's like
Can
an
I
heirloom,
put
isn't
that
it?
on?
Yes,
I
you
just
can
want
put
to
that
see if I feel different.
on. You didn't go to Eton, or you did go to Eton?
I'm afraid I did. We all have our crosses to bear. But I feel a bit like Daniel in a lioness's den here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're not eating today. And actually, that's really an important thing. But you're a barrister. You specialise in criminal law.
I'm a barrister specialising in criminal law, and one of the things that motivated me to get involved in the Women's Equality Party is last year was 800 years since the sealing of Magna Carta, and in 800 years there has not been one Mistress of the Rolls, judge in charge of civil justice, one Lady Chief Justice, judge in charge of criminal justice, one Lady Chancellor, judge and politician in charge of all of justice, and there is one woman in the Supreme Court, and there has only ever been one woman in the Supreme Court, and that is outrageous in the 21st century.
Okay. And lastly, Michael Kimball, who's speaking again today, was making the point that, gender is male, it isn't just female. When did you start to go, actually, this matters to me because I'm a man, not you because you're a woman?
I think there's an unprecedented opportunity for men alive today to listen to women's discourse, and this is where social media has been a revolution in my life. On Twitter, I'm hearing women's voices that I never heard as a child, and it has been an absolute revelation for me. And I think that what men really need to be doing now is shutting up and listening.
And not interrupting. Sorry, I just interrupted you. I was waiting for a space,
Yeah,
which was too polite of me.
And when men are talking, and I'm very conscious of the irony of saying that here, talk to other men about this. I'm going to a rugby this afternoon. The guy on the side is going to be hearing it all from me.
Okay, we're trusting you to carry the message. Thanks very much. Okay, next up, we've got June Eric Odori. Can she come to the stage? Here she comes. She's a 17-year-old feminist campaigner working with the Department of International Development to tackle FGM and early marriage. June, what have you got yourself?
So I brought a blank sheet of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason this is my gift to the Women's Equality Party is I read a bit of Zora Neale Hurston, and she talks about how if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you, and then they'll say you enjoyed it. And I think it's really important that women actually get to write their own stories and own their own narratives. Because often, especially with young black girls, when we go through our history books, we find blank pages where we should have found our histories written. And I think it's important that we don't have people trying to control women's lives and owning that narrative for them, and that they're given the space to kind of own that.
So our next gift is coming up on stage now from Karen Blackett, OBE. Here she comes. She's chairwoman of MediaCom. She's external advisor to help diversify the civil service, and she's a UKTI business ambassador for Number 10, and she has something very interesting.
I have a gold crowbar as my gift to the Women's Equality Party. Because I genuinely believe that gender equality is a social issue, not a women's issue, and whenever there is a platform, that we should crowbar it into the conversation in order to change things.
And finally, we've got Tony and Kim from Sister Sledge.
Hello.
Hello. And you have brought a
My
gift.
sister Joni.
Tony, where are you?
Is it right here?
Oh, hello, hello, hello. My sister and I are so honored that we were asked to be a part of this amazing convention, Women of the World. As a matter of fact, we have a concept, which is nothing is greater than love, and we have been feeling amazing amounts of love among sisters and brothers. And today, we just wanted to say one thing. We have a new song called Women Are the Music of the World, and we call women whammos, all right? So we're gonna ask you to really understand what that means. That means that you really understand your beauty from the inside out, okay? Yeah. And that you respect your intelligence as well as your talent.
Your power.
And that you love humanity. So the first thing that happens is that you really have to understand and love yourself. So we're going to ask you to say, my name is, and shout your name as loud as you can, okay? Can you do that? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3. My name is Joni. One more time, let's try that.
Okay.
My name is... Woo! Okay. Much, much better. And we're going to say that you are all whammos. The way we say that is, whammo. You're a whammo. Okay?
You're a whammo. So my name is, and you are a whammo. Okay?
Just don't ever forget that.
So, with a very particular whammo in mind, there was an abolitionist named Sojourner Truth in the United States. And because this is a global and worldwide issue, worldwide concern, and we are here as women representing women from all over the world, and women of the world, Sojourner Truth fought for freedom and equality during a time of slavery. And this is a very, very, very short piece from a speech that we wanted to share as a gift.
Well, children, where there's so much racket, so much trouble, there must be something out of kilter. Well, that man over there, he'd say a woman ought to be lifted in the carriages and over ditches and have the best place everywhere. Well, ain't no man ever lifted me over no carriage or over no ditch, and I ain't never had no best place. And ain't I a woman?
And now I'd like to introduce Sophie Walker, the party leader and London mayoral candidate for Women's Equality Party. And the Workers' Education. Sophie, yeah.
Thank you. Have we just started a second party?
I've just joined several parties.
Oh, okay, fine. Hello. It's lovely to be here. This time last year, I was wondering who on earth to vote for. It was the main topic of conversation between me and my friends, and we were struggling. We really wanted someone who would do something about the astronomical cost of our childcare, about the fact that we had the option of not working at all and staying at home because it was so expensive, or of going to work and earning salaries that were smaller than the men in our workplaces. We wanted somebody who would do something about the everyday sexism that surrounded us and the violence against us that provided acres and acres of media and hardly any convictions. I would listen to my daughter, my little one, who's right there, coming home from school and telling me about all the things that the boys in her class had told her that she couldn't do and shouldn't say and wasn't going to be able to be as good as them at. And I would think, I wish there was somebody offering to build an education system where all children felt that they had the same opportunities, where all children felt that they could do anything. And in the day-to-day process of supporting my elder daughter, of fighting and campaigning and lobbying for the specialist support that she needs, I would wish that there was somebody who would recognize the double discrimination that she faced as a young woman with autism and do something, just do something to help mitigate against that in the rest of her life. And then one day, there was a notice on Facebook, something about a sandwich. Anyway, there was an interesting bit about a party, a women's equality party. And I said, yes, I'm in. And I felt galvanized. For the first time in that whole election campaign, I felt galvanized and powered up by the opportunity to be part of a party that understood me, that supported me. And I don't think there has a day passed since then when I haven't felt that sense of fizzing empowerment. It has been a blast. There have been so many memorable occasions, from launching our policy document in October to just last weekend, participating in Million Women Rise and addressing a rally in Trafalgar Square. I never saw that one coming. To visiting the jungle in Calais, to hearing just last week that one of the young women in that place who broke my heart had actually made it out. And amid all that stuff, there was a whole load of stuff that I completely forgot about. We're celebrating a birthday today. I have no idea what I did for my birthday last year. I do not remember it at all. But that's okay, because I waited so many birthdays for this party. And finally, there is a party that means we don't have to wait for women's equality. Who was that? Was that you? Do it again. We don't have to stand in line and ask nicely and hope that somebody somewhere might be listening. So on this birthday party, this birthday celebration, my gift this time is me. I am offering my candidacy as mayor for May the 5th. And I am standing up as mayor to be, because I am so tired of hearing this contest described as a competition between two men, neither of whom particularly care about women's equality, except when they're poked by a policy advisor on International Women's Day. I am standing for mayor because I want London's 4 million women to have the same rights and the same opportunities and the same security as the men in this city every single day. Anybody you vote for as mayor will act on housing, on transport, on policing. I'm the only candidate out there who wants to do it in a way that makes things work for everyone in the city. I've got a business plan that would create the part-time, flexible jobs that do not exist, that would help so many women in this city lift themselves and their families out of poverty. And I want to create a system where we have companies that think that equal pay and equal promotion is something that you just do. So we can help the women who are stuck, bumping up against that glass ceiling time and time again. And when you do that, when you do address the 23% London pay gap, you are putting money into people's pockets right now. And you are, for example, making housing affordable right now. And while we have that housing conversation, all those other parties bashing away at their one idea that's got to be better, we can see here we've created a better system for politics. We need to make the housing system non-partisan in London. It is too urgent to have all the other parties bashing away, proclaiming that their idea is best. We should be looking at a cross-party committee on housing in London. And when we do that, we should also be looking at ring-fencing funds and rooms and homes for London's most vulnerable, the women and children who are fleeing domestic violence, or at least trying to, because there is nowhere for them to go and the refugees are on their knees. I want London to be secure for women in many, many different ways. Some of you may have seen that we launched our We Count campaign over the last week, which has started a fantastic citywide conversation, which has revealed the awful extent of the harassment and the assaults and the intimidation and the scariness that there is in being a Londoner woman, and has reclaimed this city, is starting to reclaim this city for everybody. And I would want to follow that up as mayor with preventative policing, instead of approaching rape as something that just happens. I want preventative policing. I want community action against it. I want to ring-fence specialist funding. I want education systems that mean that we can create and grow a respectful society in London. I am standing as mayor for London because I want to be the change I waited so long to see. And I also would like to introduce you now to the brilliant, brilliant women who are standing with me as candidates for the Greater London Assembly. Please come up and join me. So, I'm going to finish up now. I have one last message for everybody in here. We are on the edge of doing something extraordinary. We are on the edge of making history. We are at a tipping point. Over the last few weeks, we have achieved something extraordinary. We have pushed women's equality, the gender agenda, onto the conversations and into the conversations of the two men in the London campaign. Both Zach Goldsmith and Sadiq Khan have started talking about women's equality as something that is important. But we know from the past that too often what is said on International Women's Day stays on International Women's Day. So there is a point on May the 5th, there is this place where we are all equal. There is a very special moment when we are all equal, and that is at the ballot box. You have got 4 votes on May the 5th. Vote and tell 3 or 4 of your friends to vote and bring them along with you. You get 2 votes for mayor, you get 2 votes for the GLA. Use them. You can make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, all of these fantastic people. We're going to end with Andy Gill and Shay Seeger, who are going to lead us in the Happy Birthday Anthem with especially newly commissioned words. I gave you a little taste of it to begin with. Now we're going to sing it properly and musically. And obviously we have, the Sledge sisters to help us do it, so we should be rocking.
Happy birthday to we. Let's have sex equality. It's the greatest gift there could be. Let's fix Let's do this again, girls. Who's to stand there? Come on, everybody, let's do this. Everybody, all the voices. Happy birthday. Well, happy birthday to we. Let's have sex equality, which is the greatest gift there could be. Best for everybody. Happy birthday to we. Today we're making merry, but tomorrow let's get cracking to fix our democracy.
And I think it might catch on.
Well done, you.
Thanks to everyone. Happy birthday, 1 year old. Be back next year, I'm sure, to be 2 years old. Off to your next sessions. Thank you, everybody, for all your gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.